Happy Memorial Day to all Ghanaians. It is the birthday of the first president of Ghana who led the country to independence. Good day to you all. If you just tuned in, you are watching Today in Retrospect with me, Jackie says. The top stories. World leaders have gathered in New York for the 77th session of the UN General Assembly. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and global food crisis aggravated by it will be the focus of this year's session. In Ukraine, occupied areas call urgent vote to join Russia. President Vladmir Putin announces partial military mobilization. Also in Ghana, the Ghana police announced 100,000 Ghana cedis bounty for information on worst killings. Now, the news with detail. World leaders have gathered this week in New York to address the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The war in Ukraine, climate change, and nuclear disarmament are the dominant topics for discussions during the annual gathering that started on Tuesday, which was yesterday, on 20th September 2022, at the UN's headquarters. The theme for this year's United Nations General Assembly is a watershed moment, transformative solutions to interlocking challenges. According to the UN, it stems from the recognition that the world is at a critical moment due to complex and interconnected crises. UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres said the gathering is happening at a time of great peril, with the world blighted by war, battered by climate chaos, scattered by hate, and shamed by poverty, hunger, and inequality. Almost 7 months after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, areas under Moscow's control have announced plans for urgent so-called referendums on joining Russia. Now, Russia's invasion has stalled in recent months. Ukraine has recaptured swathes of territory in the northeast. Now, Russian-backed officials in the east and south say they want votes on annexation starting this week, but that the UN General Assembly, the Western nations, have condemned Moscow's plan to hold urgent so-called referendums in parts of Ukraine that are currently under Russia's control. The international community has never recognized the annexation, but it has long been clear that Russia intends to rubber stamp its takeover of other occupied regions in the same way. Soon afterwards, the two breakaway Russian-backed authorities in Donetsk and Luhansk said they will stage votes on 23rd to 27th September. They were both recognized as independent by President Vladimir Putin 3 days before Russian troops invaded Ukraine from north, east, and south. The US, Germany, and France at the UN General Assembly have said they would never recognize the results of such sham ballot. The NATO military alliance with the plan spells an escalation in the war. Plans to run polls for 5 days starting on Friday have been announced in the eastern region of Luhansk and Donetsk, as well as Zaporizhia and Kherson in the south. Earlier, we had an information that Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, who delayed his speech, spoke earlier this morning instead and announced partial military mobilization. Putin, in his speech, says the West wants to destroy his country and he is all about protecting the Donbass. There were earlier concerns as to if the mobilization will be full or partial. Moving to Ghana, the Ghana police has announced 100,000 Ghana cedis bounty on persons behind the killings in Wa. According to an update issued by the police on Tuesday, it is possible that there are more people involved in criminal activities. The service therefore urged the public to cooperate and provide any information to arrest the remaining killers. The police have so far arrested one person in connection with the killings. The suspect, Kankani Adongo, was arrested on 19 September 2022 and is in custody, assisting with investigations. Police have assured that they will continue to maintain law and order in Wa municipality and surrounding communities after a string of killings. Now, 6 shops and vehicles have been destroyed by fire at a Safo within the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly of the Ashanti region of Ghana after fire gutted a fitting shop near Ghana Revenue Authority office. Now, the incident, according to eyewitnesses, started around 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. The fire started after some petroleum products spilled over and spread onto some vehicles that were being worked on and caught fire. Eyewitnesses say 6 shops, 3 Ford buses,
One Opel salon car, including other valuables, have been banned as a result of the incident.
Moving to other African countries, now in Equatorial Guinea, death penalty has been abolished. According to a new criminal code signed by President Teodoro Obiang, the new penal code will be implemented after 90 days. Now, this move comes 3 years after President Obiang promised to abolish the death penalty. The acting UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, al-Nashif, praised the new law. The last execution in the country took place 8 years ago. Still in Africa, Tanzania has crimped on popular banking and mobile money transaction fees imposed last year amid public outcry. Finance Minister Mwigulu Nchemba told lawmakers the charges were abolished following a directive by President Samia Suluhu Hassan. The move affects charges for transactions from bank accounts to mobile money accounts, transactions within the same bank, and transactions from one bank to another. The changes come into effect on 1st October 2022. Also in Asia, zero COVID harming 75% of European firms in China. China's inflexible and inconsistent zero COVID policy is crippling European business operations in the country, a major business lobby said on Wednesday, warning that the presence of companies can no longer be taken for granted. The report by the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China marks the latest statement by the foreign business community that Beijing's hardline virus curbs are harming the world's second largest economy and isolating it on the international stage.
China is the last major economy wedded to a strategy of stamping out emerging virus outbreaks as they arise, through a combination of snap lockdown, mass testing, and lengthy quarantines. Despite sparking business closures and rolling global supply chains, President Xi Jinping has declared the approach China's most economic and effective path forward, and officials have not indicated when the rules might be eased.
Now in showbiz today, Kanye West says his publishing is being shopped without his knowledge, just like Taylor Swift. Kanye took to Instagram on Tuesday to question a Billboard report that his camp has quietly been shopping his song catalog, writing via his Instagram stories, just like Taylor Swift, my publishing is being put up for sale without my knowledge. Also, the popular Golden Globes, dropped by ex-US broadcaster last year amid allegations of racism, sexism, and conflicts of interest, will return to TV next year, 2023. Now, the annual Hollywood Awards show was dumped by NBC following reports of lack of diversity amongst its voters. NBC said at the time it wanted to see meaningful reforms from organizers of the ceremony. Now, today's retrospection on sport. If you are an EPL or La Liga fan, there won't be any matches this week. The 2022-2023 Premier League season is up and running as the league football continues to ramp up ahead of this year's Winter World Cup in Qatar. The COVID-19 lockdown saw the 2020-2021 campaign condensed down to fit in all the matches after the season got underway a month late. They will also end later than usual because they will break for a month in mid-November to squeeze in the 2022 World Cup, the first men's World Cup held outside its traditional summer window. Also, Ghana will be playing against Brazil in an international friendly which will take place in France. Now, the Ghana Black Stars are eager to have the best preparation possible before football's biggest tournament arrives in November. However, Brazil's coach has named an incredibly strong squad for these upcoming friendlies, even without Arsenal's trio, Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Gabriel Martinelli. Brazil's eye-catching encounter with Ghana is expected to happen this Friday, September 23rd, at Stade Océan in France at 7:30 p.m. UK time and 6:30 p.m. local time. Now, we know Brazil beat Ghana in all four of their contests, with the last match being an international friendly match in 2011. Now, which of these teams do you think will win the match? Leave your comments and your predictions down below. Now, that is it for today in retrospect with me, Jackie Says. Until we meet again on another episode.